Little protocol I've got to go through first of all, because it was a public meeting, and it was as follows. All visitors must sign the visitors book. People have done that at the entrance to Kilncraig, so this includes council staff from all the buildings. There is no planned fire evacuation drill or alarm test today. So if the fire alarm is for real, then you must exit the building immediately. Council also will direct you to the nearest fire exit and will escort visitors to the building via the assembly point beside the silver man at the top of Parliament Walk. Building staff should report to their floors assembly point. And you should remain at your assembly point until directed to reoccupy the building and only re-enter once the fire marshal has advised it is safe to do so. Please do not attempt to leave the site by vehicle until cleared to do so by the fire marshal to ensure access routes are kept clear for emergency vehicles. Please note that this is a public meeting and that members of the public are in attendance. The meeting will also be recorded by the clerk and published online for public viewing after the meeting. Otherwise, the taking of photographs, including screenshots, audio or video recordings, are not permitted during the meeting unless with the express permission from myself as chair. And members attending virtually activate the cameras where possible to enable you to join by video, and can all attendees mute their microphones when not speaking. And please do not come in during items unless I invite you to do so. If members attending virtually wish to speak on any point, please indicate by clicking on the raise your hand button, and members in the chamber should also raise their hands to wish to speak, and I will bring you in at an appropriate time. If members have not been able to access all papers from the meeting, please indicate now. Good. I will ask the clerk to confirm attendance at this planning committee and would ask that members indicate if they wish to declare an interest.
Yeah. No apologies, Councillor Quinn is online.
Yeah, Councillor Quinn, can I just say that I may have to leave early, all depending on how long this is going to be, because I have another appointment just after 3.
That's Mr. Councillor. Thank you. Okay, item 1. Item 3, we've done that on the declaration. So we go to the minutes of the last planning committee meeting, which was held on the 20th of September. And I will go through, first of all, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong page. Well, or correction, 4th of May. Thank you, Councillor. Right, we'll go through that, looking for any inaccuracies. The anything to report on page 5, page 6, page 7, page 8. There is one amendment, top of the page, and line 3. It says council, back to council for approval. That should read back to committee. Please amend accordingly. That's page 8, page 9. Right, amendments to that one. Can I have a proposal for the adoption of these minutes? Councillor Earl, thank you. Second, second. Right, that brings us on to any matters arising from those minutes, and I think there are 3 action points noted, which we'll go now get a little update on asking from.
Thank you, Convener. The first matter arising in the bottom of page 6 was in respect of follow-up from the decision on the smoky waste appeal, in particular in respect of affordable housing contributions and the Council's policy and approach to that. And just to give an update from the housing service, that they are now busily starting work on preparing a new housing needs and demand assessment, the HNDA, which was one of the issues that was raised during the hearing of HNDA date. And that was one of the key issues in the reporter's determination that there wasn't evidence of a kind of affordable housing requirement in the soft housing market area. Housing are busily assembling resources we need to take the HND process forward. They are planning to have this document finalised by summer next year and come to council hopefully in the end of autumn of 2024. Another matter arising at the top of page 8 was in respect of the follow-on from the minded to approve determination by the committee on the application of Carsbridge. And I'll invite Keith Johnson just to provide an update on that one.
Thank you. It was really just to say that since the committee meeting, one of the items has been addressed in terms of the discussion about use of restriction to use class 4 within the site, and the applicant has agreed effectively to delete the reference to classes 5 and 6 from the description of development. So the description has been formally amended. After that, the committee meeting. So any planning permission principle that is issued before the need for class 4 commercial uses on the site. Negotiations and work to draft the scope in terms of section 75 and planning conditions. They're still taking place, including consultation with other services. So we're not in a position yet to have drafted up documents for that. There is a proposed to update committee when that section 75 has been concluded and the conditions finalised.
Thank you.
As from the final item, convener, on page 9, just actions following the determination on the Alma West planning application. The decision to refuse that was issued by officers following the committee, and there's now an appeal against that decision by the applicants, and we're waiting a decision back from the local. That's the way we receive that.
Right, thanks for that. Any questions from committee or any updates? Fine, we'll move on to it.
Just very quickly in the application, everyone's getting an opportunity to see other representations and the appeal process and how you intend to report that to the council, to this committee.
The period of the written submissions on the appeal is now finished. I understand that the reporter carried out an unaccompanied state visits on Monday this week. So we are now just in the process of all the representations from the Parliament Council are now at an end. So really it's just a further either a decision or some other communication from the reporter, which could be perhaps more information. We don't know, but it's all in the reporter's hands at the moment.
And I take it, once the reporter issues the findings, will be reporting that back to this committee.
Yes, so indeed, yeah. No other questions? Right, item 4, planning application for the erection of kennels, dog breeding, cycling forward of glamping pods, permission of 5 parking bays for camper vans, park with perspective at the Devon River Riding Centre with this cross. This report will be given by Keith Johnson.
Chair. Our report provides a summary of our assessment of this application, Camper Riding Centre, which is located next to the SSPCA National Wildlife Centre near Fishcross. The development comprises retrospective permission for a timber clad building for use as kennels, associated with a dog breeding business, installation of 4 glamping pods on land to the south of the buildings at the centre. 2 of the pods have been constructed and retrospective permission is also sought for those, plus 2 further pods on land to the south of those. These will provide accommodation for visitors to the area. Pods are small living sleeping space for the kitchen area with a separate shower room. There's also a proposal for 5 parking bays to be formed along the access road to the riding centre, which would be used for overnight stays by camper vans, and some of those bays have also been installed. Kennels and glamping pods are allocated on location on page 27 of the papers to show a location to be surrounding land The application was submitted in response to inquiries by the service about building works taking place without permission. The applicant submitted that in order to try to regulate the planning position. This inquiry actually took place during a period of disruption due to COVID-19. And this has contributed to the application not having been registered until earlier this year. The applicant has maintained that it was trying to ensure the development of the relevant planning permission. The application is now before members for determination following a request from an elected member of the Debate Fair Committee to be determined rather than under the council's scheme of delegation. The reason given was this deal of development taking place at this location without first obtaining permission. The report provides a summary of the planning enforcement inquiries recorded by the service, which is in paragraph 3.23 of the report. And these are the previous inquiries were remedied to the satisfaction of the service, including submission of 2 planning applications which were approved. The responses from consultees are summarised paragraphs 3.5 and 3.9. There are the objections from transportation due to additional town movements at the junction of the private road which serves the site of Channel Hawthorne. Also from the Coal Authority in relation to the Kennels building due to the absence of a coal mining risk assessment report which is specific to the proposed development. The applicant has submitted a report prepared in support of the application, which included a building located approximately 10 metres from the Kennels building, to which the Coal Authority had an objection. However, the authority has advised an addendum be provided to confirm the Kennel building is also in position of the recommendations of the report. Our responses to these consultations are set out in the report, including the reasoning why we have concluded that we do not provide justification to withhold permission. Environmental health is an objection. This advice has been given after a visit at the site and considered the issues raised in the objection to the application, including those relating to noise impact. Contaminated land section, Scottish Water have raised an objection. There's been one objection submitted on behalf of the occupier of the nearest house to the site at Bank Cottage. Their concerns are summarised in the report. Issues include noise impact from the dog feeder use and glamping pods, and adequacy and safety of the access from the public road, health risks associated with the toilet facilities at the pods, and increasing fire risks. The report gives a summary of our assessment and responses to those issues raised. It's concluded that they do not provide sufficient or material grounds to justify withholding permission. Application is to be determined in accordance with the development plan unless material considerations have been otherwise. Section 4 of the report provides a summary of how the application relates to relevant policies in National Planning Framework 4 and the adopted Commercial Road Plan. These include policies addressing development of the countryside, tourism, brownfield land, environmental quality and access. It is concluded that on balance, subject to proposed conditions, the application would not be contrary to the development. Section 5 considers other material considerations relevant to the application. These include advice from consultees, concerns raised in objection, economic benefits associated with development, in terms of helping sustain the applicant's business, contributing to local and national tourism strategies, the access to the site, and compatibility of the development with neighbouring uses, and the retrospective element of part of the application. We've concluded that material considerations do not attract sufficient weight to outweigh the development plan support for the application and justify withholding permission. The application is therefore recommended for approval, subject to the conditions in section 2 of the report.
Thank you. First of all, open it to members for questions. Councillor McTaggart.
Thanks, Chair. Keith, had this been brought forward by an elected member, would you have had any reservations about approving this? Thanks.
Our recommendation would have superintendent the same, would have recommended approval by appointed officers under the scheme of delegation.
Councillor Wilson.
Two quick questions. Strategically in this area, we've got a Alva to Fish Cross cycle route, one of which potential accessing into cycle route that goes from Tillicree through Fitzroy to Alloa. One potential route is to the north and the other more likely ones to the south. Is this development likely to have any impact upon those strategic ambitions?
The actual build development proposals, I'm fairly confident it would not affect those. Again, on the location plan, on page 27, there's bullets which shows the line, the care of the kids, which includes the actual riding centre arena. So, and as I say, I don't think it would impede the prejudice the routes, and obviously long term, that line would be a benefit to people staying at the site for something else.
And my second question, with camper vans on site, what arrangement, I'll probably like to learn more from the applicant if they're present, but what arrangements are put in place for the chemical disposal of the toilets? And have you considered this, and should it not be considered as a condition?
There will be provision for disposal of further waste. Perhaps the applicant may want to qualify how we would operate that. I know that the parking bays have hookups and water supply, but obviously, as you see, the further waste would have to be disposed of separately from that.
Can you just follow through that though? You have a condition that why not? Are you confident with the provisions that the applicants moving forward in this aspect?
I think in terms of the conditions for that, I think that the overnight stays probably short term, but if that's something the members thought, well, there's a concern about that in terms of provision, then that's something that could be regulated through the final decision. Also, disposal would, if there was to be disposal on site, that would be regulated by parties to CEPA. But I think that's something which potentially could be covered by a condition if the members decided the case.
You want to come back on that?
It was just another point in relation to the future of Solly's observation that transportation service are leading on the active travel project, so it's being consulted on the applications in the plans to for any issues that are conflict with the age groups.
Councillor.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. 3.13 talks about what we need to the police because of excessive noise that are not business. Yeah, in 3.13 E, it says that the applicant stated there have been not been any police presence. That just doesn't seem to. So can I ask the applicant if there has been any police involvement with that site because of excessive noise?
Yes, we're looking hearing from the applicant and ask you know that to respond to that question in your presentation.
Well, I would say that obviously the report summarizes the comments that were received in the application. That allegation was made and the applicant has refuted that to us, so we asked them about that, in terms of identifying. Also being consulted by the members of health and again made sure that they had reviewed the comments and they're not aware of any formal complaints that have been reported back to them about noise nuisance.
Okay, thank you. And if we move on to Chair, there was talk about my apologies. There was talk about vegetation being cut back because of problems with the I think it's line of sight for driving. They expand a little more on that, and has that work been started? What exactly is going to be cut back?
Thank you. Saying ways where the private road to serve the riding centre needs to go to the SSPC Wildlife Centre. That road, there's a planning permission granted for that road, and it required visibility display to be provided. And I think just through time that there has been undergrowth, and that has kind of interfered with that. The applicant has removed materials in the last few weeks before having contacted them about that issue. I did visit the site yesterday, and it has been improved since the comments were made about visibility and junction. And I think it was adequate.
Okay, anyone else? Yes, Councillor Rob.
Has there been any steps to improve biodiversity in the area, which has been come by any I can't have to say this earlier, about the encouragement now for biodiversity, especially with this area being in the countryside, and obviously cutting back on vegetation. Is there any way to increase the biodiversity within this area as part of the project?
There's not any proposed measures, and I think in terms of the nature of the development, the Kennels building is kind of within the riding centre area, and then the glamping pods quite small footprint and don't affect any kind of vegetation themselves or also habitat. So in that respect, we haven't asked for additional planting or feeling that it needed any setting products that are taking place. Also, we'd also want to try and encourage that provision, but in terms of this nature and scale of the development, we didn't feel that was required, and there was really any loss of valuable habitats part of the development. I mean, I think that the bit of the visibility square was just rules kind of just coming up, and just needing to be cut back rather than also trees or anything of significant value.
Okay, I would like clarification. I've been thinking the question of the chemical toilets that alarms me slightly. It's actually not being clarified. Is the adjudication in this made by a report from CECOG, or do you make that judgment whether the disposal facilities are adequate?
Well, if we dispose of at the site, then they would have to comply with the relevant regulations in terms of disposal. And that, I think the report refers to the toilet facilities for glamping pods and how those meet requirements. In terms of the parking bays or the overnight bays, I think maybe, as I say, maybe can consider what their arrangements would be if people did want to dispose of the waste, at the site.
Okay, my question was just in the sense that who makes the final judgment on that in allowing this project to go ahead?
Well, it can be up to ourselves, the planning authority, the planning committee, if that was an issue that felt that needed to be clarified further in terms of what provision was going to be and where that was going to be. Then that could be regulated through the terms of providing the details of what was going to be provided exactly. That could be through the planning permission. If there was pollution, then that would be CEPA, who would regulator investigating that.
Yeah, I mean, my understanding that the kind of toilets that they're going to use are the disposable ones, but I think it's a central container that you lift out and then tip into a waste area. Is this cesspit or septic tank adequate for that, or does it need special treatment because of the chemicals in it?
There will be, I mean, I don't think I know the answer to that question in terms of just precisely the specification would be required. As you say, the kind of waste and the blue stuff we use for chemical toilets has to be disposed of correctly. So as I say, it may be that how that can be clarified by the applicant in terms of what their relationship would be.
Yeah, I think we'll ask the applicant to clarify that when up to that point.
Just come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's reference this in 3.7, which is a comment in the report in response to environmental health comments, and he said that the board was super regulation over these types of facilities. So there is another form of regulation that really takes care of that kind of thing. Then that's disposal on site. So I think it's key to say there's still super involvement, regardless of what is or isn't in the planning question.
Okay, thanks. Right, any more questions? I guess we have. Oh, sorry, Councillor May, I missed it.
I don't know. Actually, I'm following on what you said, because in one of these, now I've lost the page now, but in one of these it says overnight. Now that doesn't clarify that it's just one night overnight, that could be a week. And to have that on site for a week and without any provision for the WAs, it's very, very easy to miss that. And if that's missed and it overflows, then you talk about biodiversity, there'll be no more biodiversity there. And it's an area where you have got a lot of animals in there, so you've got the dogs, you've got the horses, things like that. But we need I would need clarification that that's definitely going to be very much tied up with these caravans for whatever going in. I know it's not a staff caravan.
But just to say that can be clarified, one option, apart from capital information for that, could be to the planning commission, make sure that is being protected, just and clarified. Because the relations. It has been described as long-term overnight place, but I agree with you that there's nothing to stop somebody staying on longer.
Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. I think your station's a little bit ropey. You must change it to one of the others. I think the mic may be better. It's crackling a little bit. Okay, thanks for that. Now, I think we'll turn to the applicant now, and you have 10 minutes to give us the lowdown from your point of view. Good luck, just like that, I think that's all.
Well, hi, I'm here on behalf of my dad, Tom Scrill, which I couldn't make it today, unfortunately. I would just like to address some of the questions that he's had. The first about the noise use complaint. It was in the complaint that there had been a police presence, which there hasn't. When that complaint was made, we had no visits from any authorities about noise. We have other neighbours who again hadn't had any complaints from, so I'm not really sure where that came from. As I say, the dogs in the kennels, we obviously have a licence for the dog breeding, and the number of dogs that we have don't create. My dad lives on the property, and you can never hear that they're there. That create comfortable in their stay. So there's never any complaints about that. So the pods, obviously the pods only sleep 2 people. So again, we've never had any noise-related issues there. So would never be an issue. With the toilets, so the compost toilets that have been put in the pods, you were saying about if it was a longer stay, so obviously we would make arrangements to have them emptied within every couple of days or whenever necessary. They wouldn't just be left for an entire stay if we had people staying longer than 1 night. These do get disposed of as appropriate. We're happy to contact the SEPA and we plan to comply with any regulations. The camper van and the caravan sites are not obviously up and running at the moment. So there is water electricity points, but to do with the disposal of the waste is still to be dealt with. But again, we'll make sure that it complies with any regulations, that isn't up and running as of yet. The other thing I wanted to just make you aware of is obviously the building was started before we had the planning. The application was initially put in back in 2021, so again, as Keith's mentioned, obviously COVID, me and my mum and dad and my immediate family decided to start the build. They are wooden constructions, there's not kennels of the concrete base, but they are just wooden builds. So we did decide to start that as we were awaiting the planning application kept getting delayed. And as it was just an immediate family that wanted to start this project. And with the pods and the carers, we have been in contact with local charities as well, offering respite stays, things like that for the pods, anything really that we can offer for the community. We have been in contact. I've actually worked myself for Play Avalon and other companies with adults and children with learning difficulties. So we have been in touch with them, and they've taken an interest in the canine therapy. So we're involved with 3 sessions monthly, so they will be able to bring them up, spend time with the dogs, things like that. So we are trying to do as much as we can for this project. Is not just purely to benefit ourselves. We are trying to make it more a community, bring people to our yard, really do what we can to help. But yeah, so we did decide to start building, but as I said, with the delay in the planning application, we done that through COVID. So yeah. That's that. Again, another issue was the building control. We have that has contacted them, and obviously because they are wooden structures, as far as we're aware, we do not need a building warrant for them. Is there anything else?
Okay, thanks. So what I take from what you said, going back to this drawing question, toilets, we have 2 different systems here. The composting toilets been used in pods, which is basically a dry system, and that's tipped into some kind of external receptacle by the operator, not by the residents. Is that correct? So you're in control of that disposal.
Yes, we are.
That's fine. And have you got the receptacle in the plans? Or composting toilets.
For the glamping pods?
Yeah.
No, it does get disposed of externally at the moment, but I think once we open up the caravans areas, I think we'll obviously have to look into.
Sure, because that takes us the second system, which is the chemical system that's used in caravans and motor homes,
Yeah.
which requires a different treatment entirely. I think, was it not?
As far as I'm aware, yes, I'd say at the moment it's the glamping pods that we do have not up and running at the moment, so that is the only toilets that we are dealing with just now. As I say, the camper van sites are not to the public as of yet.
Fine. I think we as a committee probably want some reassurance that you wouldn't start entertaining the camper vans and that kind of thing until you have a solution, perhaps that's the right word, in place for the disposal.
Yes, no, we will not be open about anything until that has been resolved and we've got the necessary provisions put in place.
I think you might want to add an opinion to the condition, perhaps, maybe.
That's where I was going to share in my summing up if we are coming to that stage. But I absolutely think a condition on the provision of chemical disposal should be put in place, and that we will see that statement on how waste is handled on the site.
Sure.
Before, when development proceeds.
Okay, you're not on trial here at all, but I want to ask a question about the delays in applying for planning permissions, because this is a very bad habit and it can cause a lot of problems for a lot of people, because sometimes things have to be dismantled, so it's foolish. Why did it occur? The excuse given in the application was COVID, but COVID didn't stop you doing the building, so why did it stop you applying?
No, as we did put application was put in before any building work started. That was the initial application. But that application and the drawings that we submitted went missing once they got handed in. So there was quite a delay by the time, and then now the application is the original application that we are working on just now. So we had to, there was months of delay, and we actually then redrew plans and we were going to resubmit, but then we were found. So it has been.
So did it go missing on your premises or on our premises?
On your premises.
Is that contested?
No, it's an actual pertinent report, being out in 3.1, seeing on page, towards the top, page 18, I think, Mr. Colours had handed in papers during the lockdown period in Hill Craigs, and they were traced. I mean, that's just guessing, so that I think that's quite clear.
Yeah. Okay. Councillor Law.
I just add that, just like, so you submitted it, but you never heard anything back, but you decided, like, did you not try to inquire to find out why you haven't heard anything back, or just?
No, we did. So we were in contact and we were trying to find the plans and go ahead with the application, but obviously it caused a huge delay and just with the timing.
There was a claim made that the neighbour notification wasn't sent out. This was refuted by council. As that, and I noticed that it was back in 2019, I think, is that right? Which is quite some time ago, and possibly it was a recollection issue. Have notifications been sent out for this new proposal, and have we received any other objections other than the single one that we had from
The notifications were sent out when the application was registered, which I think would have been in May this year.
right?
And I know that the neighbour who objected spoke to him on the phone and then confirmed he received those two neighbours. So I'm reason to believe that the other neighbours didn't receive that. So we have checked, and as far as we know, the notices were sent out when the application was actually registered.
Yeah, right. So we're going with the assumption that there are some other neighbours apart from this one, and so we only had one objection, and we're assuming that everyone got a notice, so the objections are limited to that. Right, okay.
Well, sorry, Chair, I have 3 quick questions to the applicant. So in terms of the camper van provision, and you're talking about supplying electricity, would that be 5 sort of fixed points for the supply of electricity, or would it just be one lead to the site?
Yeah, there has been installed separate electricity points for each of the bays.
And so if you can switch off your mic. Oh, right, thanks. And have you considered the provision of metered electricity recharge points to future-proof your camper van site?
And yes, that would definitely be something that would again look into before it was ever open to the public. They are not active at the moment. They're just being installed.
As hinted, the area we only operate is an area that supports a mixed planning district from Kerseybough to this development area. It's fair to say that the council has tried to bring a number of different land uses into regulation there. And the aspiration from up to this point for you is to have a leisure route from Alva to Fish Cross, and to hopefully see the Green Engine House reopened. And within that sort of context, could you tell us a little bit more about your aspirations and how you would promote and develop the site?
I think, as I say, we have been improving the site over the years with the riding school. Obviously brings in traffic, so in one in the area. The dog licence, we have our dog licence, dog breeding licence. Again, the only one in the area is the pods. I think it's just an extension of the businesses that we're trying to create for our family. Again, it's just immediate family. It's myself, my dad, my brother, and I say we've all got children, so we all work together and are trying to improve on the land that we have and bring in new customers and tourists, and we promote local businesses within the pods, local restaurants. We have routes for walking and hiking, obviously being where we are, the local hills, we promote fishing in the area, anything like that, we provide information to any guests that we have. So yeah, it's just an expansion, hopefully on our property.
That's
Right, there's a lot.
Right, it just so happened I was at a local authority meeting yesterday. Are you going to comply with what the coal authority have asked for in regards to the change in the forms, maybe it's notifying us that I think it's the kennel building. And also, what type of breeds of dogs do you breed in the kennels? We breed cockapoo. Your other question, yes, we have had a full report done and say that was, we assumed it would be sufficient enough, as we can get back in contact with them, but in that report it states everything is being complied with. There was an area in the field that has then been fenced off. I think that'll be in the report that work's been carried out. So we will comply with anything using additional, but I think as far as we're aware that it was sufficient enough. But I get it, the plans to be farmers are right.
The position, I think, in terms of our response to that, we have proposed a note to the applicant to ask them to contact the Coal Authority to conclude that assessment. There was a minor risk assessment undertaken for previous application, which included a shallow building close to the kennels, and that report showed that that area there was no mitigation around that area. Although I'm not a mining engineer, I did feel that indicated that the risks associated with the kennels, I think, would be very low. And applicant has complied with the other requirement of that report at the time. I think further to the south of the field, to the edge of the fence, there was that proposed mine shaft, and have done that now. So our recommendation is that the applicant, through our notes, that they will confirm with the Coal Authority providing that confirmation that the conclusions of that end of the report also apply to the kennel zone, and they have previous report was undertaken by them, recognised the consultant. So I think that should be a fairly straightforward task for them to.
No one else? Right, okay. Right, we'll look at what we've been asked to approve. On page 11, it's recommended that applications approved subject to following conditions, and 6 conditions are listed, which are with there. But I think we are quite much in the 7th condition in there, concerning the chemical waste disposal being a mandatory installation prior to license to use the parking base for overnight stalls. Apart from that, we have the paper in front of us. I will formally propose the paper. Is anyone wishing to be able to second that? Councillor McTaggart, thank you. Do we wish to debate the paper? Councillor Russell.
That's Jim. In general, I hope in retrospect that planning applications, deal with the plan for retrospect planning application up to be twice the amount of planning fee. And it allows the planning service to influence the design and operation of that type of facility. However, the converse is also true that when something is already on site or partially developed, and you can get a sense of how that development is developing, and you can put in appropriate mitigation measures, etc. I'm in favour of the use of this application. I think it's useful to all the facilities being proposed, new camper van facilities within Clacks, kennels and things like that. I think there's a wee bit of contradiction and potential conflict between the uses, but let's see how it develops. In terms of conditions, as you've highlighted, maybe the monitoring officer wants to be a wee bit more specific in these, but I'm absolutely certain in my own mind, those of you who have followed Route 500 or indeed more locally, we have camper vans pulling into our parks, Johnson and Crawford Park, and people unfortunately disposing of their chemicals in our local rivers. That's exceptionally bad for the environment, not a very attractive way to promote the local area, and it should be regulated and controlled, and therefore I firmly feel we should need a planning commission on the provision of chemical boiler disposal facilities on site and how these are managed by the applicant. The other aspect that I probably would like to see is a condition that I've unfortunately haven't been on site to check this, but normally if this application is coming afresh, I think we would normally ask for a landscape plan to see if the environment of the site could be enhanced, and if some landscaping could be put in, maybe to act as a baffle between noise complaints and the site. We'll be providing natural green screening that also acts as a noise barrier. We haven't done that in this case. It might be something, I didn't move or second this, but I would suggest the committee that we do ask for a modest of a landscape plan about how the site could be enhanced. I'm not looking for something, it's a small operation, it's a small business, a small family business. Don't want to put any more burdens on it than is necessary, but I do feel some sort of landscape enhancement. The whole area in that area needs to step up in terms of tourism. As a local member, I've had complaints about fly tipping and things there. I'm not laying that at the door of this applicant, but I do think the area in general could take a step up in terms of enhancement, and one way of achieving that would be a landscape plan for the site. So that would be my only two conditions. Aside from that, I'm supportive of the application. If promoted well, I think it would be very successful in the area and could absolutely add to the product that Clare managed to offers in terms of tourism and other facilities. So that's what I'd like to see in the application.
Thank you, Councillor, for your positive contribution on the ocean and the landscaping aspect. Is anyone else wish to, Councillor Errol?
Yeah, I'm all for the new legislation coming in, and particularly for tourism. Basically, I want people to come to convention, because I want to spend their money in convention. The idea of the mountain was, I mean, I think it's a terrific idea. I would say the accommodation is only suitable for 2 people. I mean, I've seen programs with the mountain flights and that before, and yeah, it's ideal. And for what's particularly concerned earlier on with the people using the flights on a more permanent basis. That thankfully, what seemed to be what involved there this morning, that's a waiting search. That one the development plan itself says that we should be encouraging new businesses and into the area. I think this is one that we should be supportive of. Unfortunately, I do agree with Donald in the way that the retrospective planning the applications, that they're not something that I'm happy with. There are certain circumstances where it's been unavoidable. It may have been better to wait until we actually had the permission before the work started. But then I understand that there was a financial penalty. They would not be so it's not the way to go. Again, delay was with your control. So all in all, we're keeping these into consideration. I mean, if they decide to focus on taking one for.
That's correct.
Very good. Yeah, I share a lot of the same thoughts as Councillor Balselli and Councillor Errol. Really don't like retrospective plan applications, but I do accept that, I mean, on the scheme of things, this is quite minor, and it did submit an application before you start development, and we're gonna, kind of using it all the time, so I'm not, I can meet the master if you like him. So I'm very much in favour of development. I think the concerns that have been raised are very minor. I think they're mitigated by the conditions that we put in place here and the condition by the law. I do agree with Councillor Balselli. Think about the landscape for that, maybe kind of alleviate some of the concerns with noise and also potentially help biodiversity in the area as well. But overall, I think this is going to be a good thing for the area. I'm sure that all the success and hopefully this will bring more people in class. It's one of the tourism one area I think we've really struggled with in Clipman and Sherrick, and we need to more things to bring people in here, more things to kind of welcome people in, and I think this fits very much in with that. So I think I'm happy with the application. I'm happy with those for that. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm getting a feeling we are.
Yeah, I just come back to this very quickly. I know that you had to reach the direction here, but I did raise it earlier. I would have loved to have recommended that the applicant provide electricity meter recharge points for vehicles. However, the development's a small development. We don't actually have this embedded as a policy within our local development plan, and therefore I feel that would be an unreasonable condition. However, I would ask the applicant to think about that in terms of how they are future-proofing their business and potentially generating an income from the business in terms of metered electricity recharge point for camper van or whatever you put on site. Thanks, Chair.
No problem. I get a feeling that we're minded to accept, so we'll just do this on quick. Please.
So I just want to double check. That's personally you proposed in terms of the recommendations to add delivery of a landscape plan. And as far as I'm aware, that is not possible.
Yeah, thanks. We're just going to come in on that particular point. And obviously the application's been assessed by the officer in respect of visual impact, and I think noise or community impact is also mentioned as well in terms of possible planting. So sometimes there are two reasons to ask for more planting. Sometimes it's three, sometimes it's biodiversity, sometimes it's about screening, sometimes it's about providing some sort of noise buffer. But that application had been assessed, and none of these things have been required by the officer. Looking at the plan, obviously you can see that there's sort of screen planting belts on two sides of the development. So we do routinely require additional landscaping for a number of developments where it's considered necessary. It's also not been in this case, so I think it's one clear that maybe in the assessment, if the felt there was a need for additional planting, that would certainly be in the programme and the recommendation.
Chair, if it's set forward in the basis of that explanation and having not been on site myself, I'm happy to follow that recommendation for a landscape plan. But I do highlight that in retrospective applications, it's an opportunity for us in applying conditions to get things right, and from the reassurance from the planning officer that they feel the landscape's adequate. That's fine. That's good enough for me, and therefore there's no necessary for a landscape plan. So I'll withdraw that aspect of my request. Thank you.
Thank you for the chance to also see if there's the, from voting against the paper and I need to amend it and then re-propose it with your
Just
amendment in place.
your proposal and second recommendation stands with the compost in the top.
Indeed. Indeed.
Can I just briefly come in on the other part of this matter? If it was acceptable to members, we could delegate the final wording of that condition to officers rather than try and, sort of come up with a detailed condition now around that. So if members were happy with that approach, then we can delegate that to officers.
Well, I was the conditions is good ones. Right, I feel, having said all that, we are minded to approve. We'll just do a quick show of hands. All those in favour of approving the table? Good, excellent. Thank you.
Happily, I approve if I get to see they got to boost.
That's why I asked, because like, I know it's sounding really random, but it's not like, it's packed dogs and like a video, like a howling and I've got that would be like, so probably it's not exactly howling and barking dogs.
Please visit anything. Dogs for a child, they can listen as well.
If you're going to find a break, tell them for six to move, or you move yourselves to do so. Refresh your water, that's nothing on it.